We derive energy for all our physical activities from the food we consume. This energy is obtained because of our digestive system. The process of digestion begins when we put a morsel of food in our mouth. We use our teeth to cut, break and chew morsels of food. Saliva helps to soften the food and contains an enzyme that aids digestion. The softened food is rolled into a ball called the bolus and is pushed by the tongue into the throat. The food is pushed to the back of the pharynx and travels down a pipe known as the esophagus. During this time, a flap known as the epiglottis covers the opening of the windpipe and prevents the food from entering the trachea. Movement of the food occurs due to a wave-like contraction known as peristalsis. When the food reaches the entrance of the stomach, a sphincter known as the lower esophageal sphincter relaxes and the food enters the stomach. The stomach contains gastric juices that breaks the food into smaller particles or molecules. The hydrochloric acid present in the stomach converts the food into chyme. This chyme now passes into the small intestine. This chyme exits the stomach through the pyloric sphincter and enters a part of the small intestine known as the duodenum. The bile duct from the liver and gallbladder and the pancreatic duct from the pancreas releases this secretion into the duodenum. The bile helps in breaking down fats and the pancreatic juice breaks down other food particles. This aids in the further digestion of food. Most of the nutrients from the food are absorbed in the small intestine. This occurs in a part of the small intestine known as the jejunum. The food particles are further broken down inside the jejunum. The walls are lined with a finger-like projection known as villi that absorb the small food particles. Each villus contains a capillary and a lacteal. This allows the small intestine to absorb the required nutrients needed by our body. The nutrients are then transported to different parts of the body through the bloodstream. The larger food particles that cannot be absorbed move through the ileocecal valve and enter the large intestine or colon. The colon absorbs water, manufactures minerals and produces mucus. The undigested food gradually solidifies as it moves through the colon. This food is considered as waste formed into fecus. The waste or fecus moves into the last part of the large intestine known as the rectum. It is ultimately expelled from the anus through the defecation movement. As we can see, the process of digestion is a chemical breakdown of food into smaller particles that can be readily absorbed in the body. Without the digestive system, it would be impossible for the body to build and nourish cells.
The digestive system, Part 2. Different types of associated glands are salivary glands, gastric glands, liver, pancreas, and intestinal glands. These glands secrete digestive juices during the process of digestion. There are 3 pairs of salivary glands: parotid, submaxillary or submandibular, and sublingual glands. The parotid glands are located one on either side in the groove between the ramus of mandible and mastoid process below the ear. The duct of parotid, that is, the duct of Stenson, opens into the vestibule of the mouth cavity near the crown of the second molar tooth. The submaxillary glands are present medial to the mandible in the submaxillary triangle. The duct of the gland, known as the duct of Wharton, runs anteriorly and medially to open in the floor of the mouth. The sublingual glands are situated beneath the tongue. Each sublingual gland has about 10 ducts called the ducts of Rivenus, which open into the floor of the mouth. Histologically, the salivary glands are racemose glands and they look like clusters of grapes. Each gland consists of large numbers of acini, and each acinus is lined by pyramidal epithelial cells standing on a basement membrane. The function of salivary glands is to secrete salivary juice. The juice is conveyed by fine ductules, which unite with similar ductules from other acini to form bigger ductules. The latter unite to form the main duct of the gland. The salivary gland secretion is very rich in salivary amylase, a starch-splitting enzyme. The secretions of sublingual and submaxillary glands are, however, rich in mucin. About 99.5% of saliva is water. It contains 2 important enzymes, amylase and lysozyme. Amylase is starch-digesting enzyme which breaks starch into maltose and triose. Lysozyme causes lysis of several common bacteria that may be present in the mouth. Mucin in saliva helps to lubricate the food for swallowing. The saliva helps to wash out bacteria of the mouth, aids in speech, and also acts as a solvent of many substances. Such substances, when dissolved in the mouth and come in contact with taste buds, produce the sensation of taste.